Welcome back everyone to Data Science for Everyone. Today we're going to be talking about compound data types. Let's get started. So in previous videos, we've been talking about JavaScript's primitive data types. So something like a string or a number, basically any single piece of data. Now, today we're going to be looking at, again, compound data types, such as arrays or objects. Now, these can combine multiple pieces of data into a single unit. Now, compound data types are an essential part of programming, and they're going to allow us to organize and collect our data. So first off, let's talk about an array. Now, an array is a compound data type that holds an ordered piece or an ordered list of values. So we can create this by using, again, the let keyword here, and let's call this my array. And this will be done with square brackets. Now here we can do something like 5, 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 7. Okay, and we can now look at my array. Oops. My array. And again, you notice here that it keeps the order that we go into. And we can click, for example, we can click this nice little triangle here, and we can see here that it tells us the index of each item that we are, also tell us the length. And again, we can get into the prototype that has all these different methods that we can use on it later on. Now, what's nice with this, we have created up this array called my array. And again, as we saw here, we have the indices listed. So if, for example, we wanted to grab the number 5, we would do my array of 0, and that's going to give us 5. Now, again, I'll just do this just so if we want to, you can say 0, 1, 2, 3. So we want to grab 1. Then we can say my array of 3. It's going to give us 1. And again, if you go outside of the list or outside of the array here, and let's do 10, you're just going to get undefined because there's nothing that's actually defined in there. Now, you can also do, and something that's very useful, okay, is if you, let's say that this array is really, really big, all right, you can do something like my array dot length, length. And you can see here that the length is 6. But let's say that you don't know how large this array is. Maybe you had some number generator, or you had some data from some external source, and it's just giving you an array, and you don't know how long it is, but you know that you need the last number in the series. Okay, so my array here, notice that it's 7, as we can see that from here. But if you want to grab it, you can say my array dot length minus 1. And this will always give you the last value. Again, because remember they start at 0, so it's if it has a length of 7, for example, then you can do the length minus 1, and that's going to give you the index of that number. So we can also do something such as a list of arrays. Okay, so you can have extra elements inside, extra objects inside. So we can say let my matrix in here, and let's do something like this, and you know what, we want to combine this. Oops. I want to put another one on the outside here. And so notice here is an array inside, and again we have that bracket on the outside. Notice it's turning red here because we don't have an ending. We'll put an ending there to it, and let's make this just a completely empty matrix here. And again, we're just doing this just as some placeholders. All right, and finish that up. And then now we can do something like this. So we can say my matrix. And notice here, it just tells you the type that it is. So it says array of 3, array of 3, array of 3. So it's telling us that, oh, look, yes, I know that you created up an array, but it's also an array of arrays, which it knows. And it's telling us what each of them have. And notice here now it says, oh, you can access array 1 at index 0, array 2 at index 1, and array 3 at index 3. But now we also have this little triangle here, and we can dig down deeper, and it will say, oh, inside of that first array, you can grab in the internals of it as well, which again is very useful to you when you're wanting to create more like nested data and those types of things. All right, so let's go on and try and access these. So, you know what, maybe let me change this so that we can make it A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. So let's say the first thing we want to do is grab our first array. Notice we do the index of 0, and then let's say I want you to grab the index B. Okay, you want to grab the letter B here. How would you do that? Well, one thing that you can do is go in and do another square bracket here, and you can do 1. And notice that gives us B. Now, another fun thing with this, so let's maybe change this up, and I'm going to grab H here. Okay, so notice that we have my matrix, we have our first array, our second array, all right? So this is 0, this is 1, this is 2. So this is 2, we're grabbing our ending array in here, and we are grabbing in the second item in here. So we're at 1, so we're grabbing H. Now I want to change that. So I can do that by saying something like new entry. Okay, and it gives us back new entry. Now if I look at my matrix, all right, now notice here, it says here, oh, we have array, array, array. So let's go down and actually look at it. Now look what happened here. We are able to change that singular entry. So this was H, and now it is new entry. And so you can change that, and you can move it around and everything else. Now this is the beginning, okay? So if, for example, you wanted to make like a tic-tac-toe game, or you wanted to be able to do some other types of interesting things, so we could go back up, for example. And we have this matrix. If you want to play tic-tac-toe with your friends, you could do something like telling them, oh, we want my matrix, and they want to grab 0 of 2 is equal to x. Okay, well now you can look at my matrix. I notice now they have an x there. So then if you wanted to do an O here or an O here, how would you do that? Well, it would be, let's say that we want to put an O in the center spot here. Well, we would go to 0, right? And then 1. So you would say my matrix, and that would be 1 of 1, right? To get that 0 spot. And we'll say equal to, 0 for O. This entrance. Let's go through and take a look. So now, notice we're grabbing that spot. We're grabbing our second entry of our array, and we're grabbing the second entry of there. And so you can see later on, you can design this to make a nice kind of easy to use tic-tac-toe variation using a coordinate system. But again, you would probably want to make something a little bit more advanced later on. So let's move on now to using and looking at some array methods. So first, let me go ahead and clear this up. And array methods here, so let's say that you want to let, and let's not do language, let's do something like grocery list. Okay, so you need to buy apples, need to buy mangoes, you want to buy chicken, you want to buy hot sauce, and let's just leave it at that. Oops. Okay, so now that's one way of creating up your grocery list, right? So if we do grocery list, we take a look now that we have all of that. But let's actually do this. Let's do grocery list, and I'm going to actually make it an empty list now. So if we clear this out again, and we do grocery list, notice it is an empty item. And so now we want to push items in, okay? So we can use the push method. So let's say that you're maybe talking with someone and they're saying, all right, let's make up our grocery list. And so then you would push, and they say, oh, we want apples. Okay, good. So that pushed in an item. Then we can also go and say grocery list. Now we want to push in potatoes. We'll do a grocery list again. And notice here it's telling us the length again. So it pushed it in and it's going to give us the length of that list now. Let's do chicken. And we'll also do hot sauce. So notice that gives us a length, a grocery list with a length of 4. We can also go through and take a look at that grocery list, and we see here that it has apples, potatoes, chicken, hot sauce. Okay, good. So how do we potentially want to add even another element, but let's say that we want to add it at the beginning. Notice they were always putting they're always putting things at the end, right? So let's say that you want to put something at the beginning and you said, oh, the most important thing for us to get at the grocery store, maybe you're looking to make, I don't know, let's say, whoops. Let's say you want to put fish at the beginning. Okay, so then you can unshift. So if you notice, that still tells us the list, how everything, the length of everything. So we can do grocery, and now notice if we just look here, fish is going to come up. So let's also do grocery list unshift. And let's say you also want to add in cheese, but you want it at the beginning of the list as well. So now we can look at our grocery list. And notice here, cheese, fish, apples, potatoes, chicken, hot sauce. So we have shifted everything. We have unshifted it. So now we've added a couple more items to our list, right? Now, because each element is added at the beginning of the array, they end up in the opposite order of how they were added. Okay, so notice here, fish and then cheese. It's because it's putting it into the end. So push, though, and unshift returns a new length each time. So now, how do we remove elements from an array? Okay, well, we can pop them out. Okay, using the pop method. Now pop, oh, that pushes out hot sauce. Now if we take a look at our grocery list again, though, notice it does not have hot sauce at the end. It has literally popped it out of the array. Okay, the pop method, again, is going to return the array element being removed. So this is very useful when you want to do something with that element that you're removing. So let's say we're going to delete another element from our Apple or our grocery list, okay? And let's see what we want to have here. Let's say we want to keep it, right? So let's do this. Let favorite meat, okay? And so we want to say that chicken is our favorite meat. And again, it may not be or not, but this is just an example. So we have our grocery list pop, right? And then we can create a message here. Say, my favorite meat is here, and we say favorite meat. And so we can now look at our message. It says, my favorite meat is chicken. Okay, perfect. So now we're able to actually take things from this list, and we're able to pop it out, we're able to grab it and put it into a nice message using our templating that we've learned in previous videos. Now, let's also take a look at our grocery list again. And notice it is now shorter than before because we popped out chicken. We are left with cheese, fish, apples, and potatoes. Now, what is, again, we could do this again by using shift, and we could say our worst, our least favorite, maybe it would be our least favorite item is cheese, okay? So how do we get something from the front? Before we were using pop from the back and say, let least favorite is equal to, and we can do here our grocery list dot shift, okay? And notice that is going to grab from the front. So here, if we do our least favorite is cheese, okay? So as with our other examples, okay, we can save this result inside of some variable and then or some object, and we can then use it in our template. So again, if I wanted to say my least favorite food is and then cheese, then we could do that as well. So this is a very useful idea that we have here with this concept. Now let's go on to another idea of combining arrays. So let's say that you and one of your family members, let's say your sister, had two grocery lists, okay? So my favorite foods, okay? And we'll say fish, chicken, oh, you know what? Let's actually do favorite foods itself. So let's do pizza, hamburger, and sushi. All right, and then we can also say let sis favorite foods is equal to I don't know. Let's have something like soup, fried chicken, and pasta. Okay, so now you could actually combine these two lists together. So let family favorite foods is equal to, and here you can say my favorite foods dot concat. So concat actually glues two things together. It's from concatenation. It squeezes them together. So we can do sis favorite foods. and then we put them together, we have a family favorite foods. And notice now it has taken both of them and put them together. Now, if we had had multiple items, so let's do this just so that you can see this. I'll change Sis favorite food. I'm also going to give her, oops, I'm going to give her pizza as well. So you can see what would happen here. So if we go through and we recreate favorite foods, notice here it will have pizza twice. It does not, the concat is not smart enough to know, oh, there's a double in here at all. So it will still just glue the two items together. And again, you can add more of these as well. So let's say you want to have maybe 4 or 5 items, you could concat them as well. So let's make one more element here. And so let's say let dad favorite foods is equal to granola, mashed potatoes, and garlic bread. Okay, well now we can add in multiple items. So you know what? And let's actually make this a little bit more complex. Let's add in let mom favorite foods. And let's give her Brussels sprouts, cheese, and ice cream. Okay, so now we can go through and we can add in all of these, we can concat all of them together. So again, let's do family favorite foods, and I'm going to erase it so we can, so notice now it's going to be an empty set here, and let's do family favorite foods is equal to what? My favorite foods dot concat, and we can do sys favorite foods, oops, dad favorite foods, mom favorite foods. Notice now we have our favorite foods itself. It's going to be my favorite foods. It's going to concat sis favorite foods, dad favorite foods, mom favorite foods all together into one. And again, we're going to be overriding that family fave foods. So now if we look at our family favorite foods, we have a 13 length array. And again, it's pizza, hamburger, sushi, soup, fried chicken, pasta, pizza again, granola, mashed potatoes, garlic, Brussels sprouts, cheese, and ice cream. So again, now we can see that we can put in a lot of different items together, and it's going to be helpful for us to create up data sets in the future, to be able to extend to lists, etc. Now, how do we go about, let's say that we have this nice long family list, how do we go about actually grabbing things from it? So we want to find an index of an element. Okay, well, we have our family favorite foods, and we can do something like index of, and let's say cheese. Well, that tells us now that it is at 11. Okay, now what if we say, I don't know, just something crazy, metal. Notice it's going to give us a -1 because -1, it doesn't exist inside of the set, okay? It's going to tell us that that item is not in our array. So that's, if you ever get that -1 back, that's what that means. Now, what happens though if we have 2 of something? So remember, we have 2 pizzas in our family favorite foods, okay? So we'll have one at 0, and we have one at 6, okay? But again, let's say that you want to use this newfound indexing of to actually look at them. You don't want to actually have to look it up. Family favorite foods dot index of, and then we say pizza. Now, what do you think it's going to do? It's going to give us back the first iteration, okay? Even though pizza is found twice in our array, index of returns only the index of the first occurrence, okay? So that's all unuseful, and we're able to store our data, and we're able to grab them and do all kinds of fun things with them. Now, what happens if you want to take all of this? And remember, before we were using our template, right? So we could say, what my favorite food is, and again here we could do, I can even do it from my family favorite food of 0, okay? Oh, I need to put a closing bracket in there. And notice my favorite food is pizza. Again, I'm able to grab that one. But let's say that we wanted to grab all of them. So how could we put up a list of every single one of these items? So let's say we want to say my family's favorite foods are, okay, and then have some sort of list, okay? Well, let's look at how we would do that. So first off, we have the family favorite foods. Now we can use the join function, okay? And normally you would put something inside here, okay? But if you notice, this does something very weird, doesn't it? It smushes everything together. And you can see that in this hover over, it has question mark separator, right? So what do you want it to be separated as? Well, the default, if we leave it empty, is just a comma, okay? There's no space or anything else in it. So maybe you wanted to put a dash, maybe you wanted to put an @ sign. You could do all of these things, but for this, I want it to actually look kind of neat. So it'd be a space, or a comma and a space. Again, that's how we would normally type things out. So we could go and put my favorite, let's do my family's favorite foods are, and again, we would do this, and we'll do family favorite foods dot join. We want a comma with a space. All right, and now notice we have this fantastic thing of my family's favorite foods are pizza, hamburger, sushi, and it goes through the whole list. Now, maybe you wanted to have them look as a list, okay? So we could do that by changing this up a little bit. And instead of a join here with a space or a comma and a space, we could do a new line. Now we do this, and notice it does not look quite right because it's just printing that out. We're not actually compiling it in any sort of way. If we throw this whole thing around inside of a console log, then notice now we get this nice looking, my family's favorite foods are pizza, hamburger, sushi, soup, fried chicken, pasta, etc. So this is a nice way to be able to create up dynamically, maybe later on, some nice examples of things, okay? So nice lists, etc. that you want to maybe put on a website. Now, there are a bunch of other useful methods. So let's take a quick minute or two just to look those over. So one of them is, again, let's look at my array because it's nice and small here. You can have the includes, and it gives back a true or false. So my array dot include, whoops, my array dot includes, and let's say we want to check and see if it has a 1 in it. That gives us true. But if we want to find a 10, that's false. Now, as for my favorite foods, let's say we want to see if it includes pizza. That's true. But does it include pizzas? False. Does it include pizza with a capital? Is false. So notice again that it is case sensitive, and we need to be able to say how that exactly what we want. Now the next thing that we can do is dot reverse. And notice this just reverses the list. Okay, instead of pizza, hamburger, sushi, we get sushi, hamburger, pizza. Now we can also sort our elements. So let's do family favorite foods dot sort, and we run this, and now this puts this in alphabetical order. Okay. Now if we did this on my array dot sort, it would put it in numerical order. Okay. Again with the 3 and 3, and here with the pizza are going to be side by side, because they're the same. And as we saw with our strings before, we can also do a slice. Now, just so that you can see this, when you run that sort method, it actually is a permanent thing, and it is done, okay? So notice here now my array has 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 3, 5, and we also have my family favorite foods is also now sorted permanently. So again, we can also do the slice, as I was about to say. So array dot slice, we want 1, 2, 4. Okay, that gives us 2, 3, 3. If we do this to my family favorite foods, and let's say that you want to look at a slice between 4 to 8, notice that gives us this nice slice of our array as well. So I'm going to call that an ending for today. The next video we'll talk about objects, and we'll continue on with other compound data types. If you guys like this content and want more of it, please comment, subscribe, and hit that like button, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.